Namaste. Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Tao. I'm Vivek Govekar. This is episode 59. And again, there's been a little gap between the last time I made a video and right now. So here's uh, the reason why. Again, a few things in my life that have changed and I'm coping with them, as I've said in the last couple of videos, but they're getting on the right track. And what I realized was all of these changes, all of these things that happen are all for a reason. And more of that becomes obvious. So, without going into detail about exactly what problems and what I faced, uh, a lot of change that happens is just to move you out of your complacency and how you respond every single minute after that event happens. Do you give in to despair or depression or anger or lashing out at somebody? Or do you get more into this mode of being detached and using every one of your tools that you have used? Mindful awareness, meditation, positive affirmations, working towards opening yourself up to new experiences, not closing yourself and staying in that same rut. Opening up yourself to finding new things that you were kind of being complacent or hiding something or staying in a comfort zone and just being reluctant to change. And those things get completely shaken out of you, which is awesome. I mean, now I feel really good about these experiences and where they're leading me. It's taking me to a better future, something that even without knowing it, I was not exposing myself to. I was kind of reluctant to expose certain fears and things that had become patterns. And these things keep becoming patterns if you allow them to, if you don't shake yourself out and create new adventures for yourself, new experiences for yourself. And it's as true about me, even though I'm making these videos and giving this wisdom and insights to people, it's as true about me. We are all on that same journey. So all that is being resolved. So I'm making a new video now. A couple of things that I'd like to discuss. Again, there's no set specific topic for this video. I'm going to talk about a bunch of different issues and goings on in my life. So I've joined a Facebook group called Kundalini Initiates, and I would highly recommend that to anyone who has an interest in the Kundalini awakening and this whole phenomenon. The reason for that being, you get to see experiences of many different people on many different levels. Okay, so I have my experience, but I'm never gonna say that this is the only experience and you should only listen to me. That's not the point of these videos. A couple of emails that I got and an exchange that I just had with someone, where that person is like, "Oh, this is like you're trying to be like a cult and you're always right," and I'm like, "No." The discussion with that person was, and I've said this in another video, I don't want to have a discussion of whether I'm fake or real, or is my experience conforming to some of your ideas of what a guru should be like. This guy said, "See, you are not a guru because you're not leaving your wife or child." I'm like, what? I have addressed this in another video. Samsara is nirvana. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to become a guru as people expect you to become. So this person, and he is wonderful. I mean, he's a seeker on the spiritual path. I have no animus against him or any ill feelings. But the discussion went in a direction where it was, what are your experiences versus what are my experiences? And this person had some experiences with ayahuasca. If you know about ayahuasca, I have never used ayahuasca. Let me start by saying that I have never used any psychedelics, and this experience happened to me without the use of them. So I wouldn't know to compare with LSD or ayahuasca. However, I've been hearing a lot of stories, and from what I've heard, the accounts, the experiences that people talk about, ayahuasca is this amazing entity which is opens up pretty much the same kind of uh, pathways, opens up a new horizon to you, the same way a Kundalini awakening does. So, yes, it has a lot of things in common. And from the experience of this person I was talking to and other people, what I have realized is ayahuasca makes you see these spirit energies, spirits that will guide you and cleanse you and undo a lot of damage that has been done on your psyche, similar to what Kundalini does. However, as with all drugs, as with all entheogens that people use, the effect wears off, and you always have that memory of that effect, and it takes you in a certain place, but it is not a permanent thing that remains with you. Okay, that's the difference between ayahuasca and a Kundalini awakening, and why any of these entheogens, they might be very useful in taking you on a certain path. They might be very useful in getting you on a spiritual track and lead you to practices that will eventually awaken your Kundalini. Yes, there are other experiences which are not Kundalini related, which are also equally spiritual, which will make you equally spiritually awakened. And I'm not saying that Kundalini is the only game in town. That's the discussion we had with that person that I'm talking about. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are many, many experiences described in different cultures which all relate to the same energy. There is only one energy in the human physiology, and it is termed different things in different cultures. So, in Hindu cultures, it's called Kundalini. In other Asian cultures, it's called Chi or Ki. In Christian theology, it's called the Holy Spirit. But it's the same energy. Because when you start reading these books, these scriptures, you start seeing the commonality between all of those things. What's common? Okay. Instead of dwelling on the differences and creating differences between different spiritual traditions, I'm trying to find a common factor. And that common factor is Kundalini, or whatever you want to call it, Holy Spirit. There was another exchange that I had with a person who has been awakened for many years, and he talks about a lot of Kundalini stuff on his blog. That's the blog that I write on, the Kundalini Consortium. A lot of the links that I provide to some blogs that I've posted in the comments section are related to this person. His name is JJ Semple. So we had a discussion about this, about what could be a new term for Kundalini. Here's why. Since I'm trying to find something common between all religious traditions, not trying to find, I already know it, but put it together in such a way that now it becomes a new stream of thought, which includes science, which is not anti-science, which wants a scientific exploration of the Kundalini energy. Taken out of the baggage, taken out of the conditioning of traditional religion. Because what happens, why are these differences, and why do people have arguments about which is better, which is not better? Because the esoteric knowledge that's deeply hidden within all of these religions is lost. And somebody has to come up and say, hey, they're all talking about the same thing. So someone having an argument with me like, oh, I could have a different spiritual experience. And why is my ayahuasca experience different from yours? It's because ayahuasca is a temporary experience. Whatever you have because of ayahuasca should be the finger pointing to the moon that should not be mistaken for a permanent spiritual experience. And the permanent spiritual experience inevitably, invariably leads to this energy. Okay, I'm not saying I'm special. I'm saying this energy is special. And hey, look what I've discovered. Not wanting to be a cult, not wanting to any way mislead people or lead you into a worship of myself. That's the wrong impression if you have that. I'm just somebody guiding you. In fact, I'm not even an expert on the practices that lead to Kundalini. I've never actually tried to mislead people about that. I awakened accidentally. Remember that. I always guide people when they leave a comment about how do I awaken Kundalini. I always say start with yoga, pranayama, and meditation. Why do I say that? I say that because after awakening, I realized, oh, these are the practices that help you with an awakening. Your body starts to contort and these kriyas begin. So that's why yoga postures have been put in place, or Tai Chi has been invented to help guide the energy when it awakens. Why are breathing practices important? I've said this in other videos. It's because the blockages as they're being released, your mental trauma as it happens, needs that systematic release, and that only happens through breath practices. It doesn't have to be pranayama. It can be some other breath practices. Holotropic breath work is another method that was invented by somebody recently. So there are many ways of doing it, but these three are common. That's what I discovered after my awakening accidentally and stumbling through everything and going through not knowing what's going on, wandering in the dark. So these are my attempts to tell people, okay, this works, and this is how you can cope with this whole thing. Okay. Why is it important to bring all of this into the 21st century and create new definitions, maybe a new name for this energy? Is because, as I've said just now, a lot of this is misunderstood, and the baggage that is created, which is repeated by people again and again, may not be very helpful. For example, and I made a video about this, do I need a guru? Even now, when I post in one of these forums, when I post on my own comment section, the one comment I keep getting, you need a guru, you need a guru. And no, I won't believe you because this is what my guru says. Yes, you are right. A guru would be very, very helpful. I'm not saying I don't need a guru. I got my awakening because of Shaktipat from a guru at a very young age. That's what I deciphered later on. But, like I said, I awakened in the United States, and you cannot just find a guru in the yellow pages and say, hey, come on, show me the Kundalini path. It's very rare. So, what I'm saying is, if it happens accidentally and you don't have access to a guru, you can today do it through YouTube channels or finding somebody from that. What is a guru? Ultimately, what is a guru? Raman Maharshi used a mountain called Arunachal. That was his guru. Guru doesn't have to be a person. A guru is whatever principle. Guru is a principle. It is embodied in a person. It is any guiding principle that teaches you something and takes you to a higher state. And that requires getting out of your comfort zone. So instead of looking at me as a cult or something that is imposing my thoughts on you, see it that way. Somebody who has awakened to a higher state cannot deny that. I have to say, yeah, I've awakened to a certain state. Then if you think, oh, this guy has a huge ego, it's not my ego. But I won't have false modesty. And what I'm saying forthright about my experiences may sound as arrogance, may sound as ego to you, but I have to say that. Watch my episode on energy vampires. You have to push back and say, well, yeah, you may come with all this theoretical knowledge and all of your baggage about, no, you have to be a guru, have to be the. But somebody with an actual experience has to correct you and burst your bubble and say, no, with the real experience, as it pertains to the 21st century, this is what is right. And doesn't have to be exactly that. Follow it as a guideline. If you awaken accidentally, now we have access to things like the website called Biology of Kundalini, where it gives you a list of supplements, a list of herbs to take to make the process go smoother. Do you absolutely have to use it? No. You can do it with real food, vegetarian diet, sure. But it is helpful, especially when you're going through anxiety, depression, things of that nature. And why not use things that are available today to make the process go easier? Then somebody says, no, the old monks and rishis never talked about taking any supplements. No, they do. The entire science of Ayurveda has been created by somebody with an awakening to help with this, and which also helps other people. So taking supplements or herbs has been a part of this all along. Now we can just do it in a modern way where it comes in a capsule. You don't have to go in the jungle and keep digging for herbs and find them that way. That's the difference. But using medicines, or aushadhi as it was called, has been a part of this all along. Tradition should be followed if it makes some sense for some particular reason. But upgrading that knowledge is not wrong. Using modern methods is not wrong. Holding on to baggage and holding on to rigid definitions and ideas, that's what's wrong. That will actually get in the way of you receiving something higher. Okay, so that should be the takeaway from this video. Again, I hope you found this helpful. This is Vivek Govekar saying namaste. Be well.